If you think the 2016 U.S. presidential election has been going on forever, well, you're kind of right. Media and other politicians have been speculating over whether or not Hillary Clinton would run for president as far back as 2014. Clinton made it official in April 2015 by formally announcing her presidential bid. By the fall of 2015, we had 17 Republican candidates and 6 Democratic candidates. But the herd started to thin quickly. Democratic candidates Lincoln Chafee, Jim Webb, and Lawrence Lessig were out before the end of 2015. And so were Republican candidates George Pataki, Scott Walker, Rick Perry, Bobby Jindal, and Lindsey Graham. Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders emerged as the top contenders for the Democratic bid. But the Republican bid remained a bit more unclear. There was one candidate that no one was taking seriously. In June 2015, Donald Trump set the tone of his campaign when speaking about Mexican immigration to the U.S.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
After this comment, the polls had Trump in the lead. 24% of Republicans were in favor of Trump. The candidates were all over social media, whether it was Twitter insults at 3 a.m. or reactions to their campaigns. One attempt to bond with Latino voters that failed loudly on Twitter was Clinton's Abuela campaign. Clinton's team posted a listicle on her website called 7 Things Hillary Clinton Has in Common with Your Abuela. This attempt to win the Latino vote was quickly deemed to be Hispandering by the Latino community, and even sparked a hashtag in response, #NotMyAbuela, that included criticisms such as, Hillary is not my abuela because I was separated by mine by many miles and a militarized border. And question, how many Clinton staffers do you think actually knew what an abuela was before they released this campaign? After this campaign in December 2015, voters were split. 48% favored Clinton as a Democratic candidate, and 41% for Sanders. And some of the most memorable moments happened during the primary debates. In the Democratic primaries, Sanders got fired up over all of the attention on Clinton using a private email server during her time as Secretary of State.
Let me say something that may not be great politics, but I think the Secretary is right. And that is that the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
You know?
Over on the GOP side, this head-to-head moment wasn't between candidates. It was between Trump and Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
Polls showed Ben Carson in the lead after Trump and Kelly had this heated exchange. Fast forward to the primaries in February, and the GOP field was slimming down even more. Jeb Bush was sliding so far in the polls that he even had to ask his rally attendees to clap for him.
I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country, to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
There was a sharp drop of candidates who ended their campaigns in February. Democratic candidate Martin O'Malley exited the race after the Iowa caucus. On the GOP side, Mike Huckabee, Rick Santorum, and Rand Paul dropped out right after the Iowa caucus as well. And just days after the New Hampshire primary, Jim Gilmore, Carly Fiorina, and Chris Christie followed suit. Sad, begging for claps Jeb Bush bowed out after the South Carolina primary in mid-February. So by the end of the month, only Clinton and Sanders were left for Democrats. On the GOP side, Trump was the clear frontrunner, but 4 other Republican candidates were still left: Ben Carson, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich. But eventually, the Republicans had to face the music of Trump. They all dropped out by May. At the Republican National Convention, even though Trump was the clear Republican nominee for president, Ted Cruz didn't endorse him.
We will unite the party, we will unite the country by standing together for shared values, by standing for liberty. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America.
Ivanka, contender to be America's next first daughter, stood out for her savvy at the convention, focusing her speech on reforms for working mothers, somewhat preempting one of Hillary's causes. Even as many scandals broke out on the Democratic side, like when FBI Director James Comey said Clinton had been careless in her use of a private email server, and WikiLeaks began releasing hacked Democratic Party emails, Hillary Clinton made history at the Democratic National Convention by becoming the first woman to clinch the nomination from a major party in the United States.
Oh, let's be stronger together, my fellow Americans. Let's look to the future with courage and confidence. Let's build a better tomorrow for our beloved children and our beloved country. And when we do, America will be greater than ever. Thank you, and may God bless you and the United States of America.
But leave it to Bill Clinton to steal the show by marveling in a shower of red, white, and blue balloons, giving us a preview of what first husband Bill Clinton might look like. After Trump and Clinton formally received their nominations from their respective parties, the polls showed 46% of voters preferred Clinton. Throughout this campaign, Trump continually broke with political norms, like his refusal to release his tax returns. Trump maintained that he was being audited and therefore couldn't release his taxes. In September, a New York Times reporter received a manila envelope in the mail with Trump's 1995 tax returns. The New York Times discovered that Trump declared a $916 million loss that year. This tax deduction is so substantial that it could have allowed him to legally avoid paying any federal income taxes for up to 18 years. Just a week after this, The Washington Post published a 2005 video where Trump is heard bragging about assaulting women.
You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just, I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the... You can do anything.
After 2 big hits to his campaign, the poll showed Clinton in the lead with 47% of voters saying they would choose her as president versus 38% for Trump. Trump's big move to fire back was to host a surprise panel of women accusing Bill Clinton of sexual assault. It was broadcasted live on Facebook. Over the 3 presidential debates, Trump proved to be as aggressive as he was throughout his campaign, but this time, he caught a case of the sniffles. Clinton was getting talked over at the podium, but came back and talked over Trump herself.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit
No, you're
that the
the puppet.
Russians have engaged in cyber attacks against the United States of America.
After all the debates were over, the polls put Clinton ahead by just 3%. 45% of voters saying they would choose her as president versus 42% for Trump. It's an election in which the twists and turns never seem to end. Clinton's pal Comey, the head of the FBI, was back in the news just 11 days before the election, saying new emails had been found that might shed light on Clinton's use of a private email server. Now the spotlight of questions was back on Clinton. But what will happen after this long road to the 2016 election? Join the New York Times live throughout election night as we find out along with you. We will be live on facebook.com/nytimes and on nytimes.com. Tune into our marathon 8-hour election live stream right here and on Facebook Live and find out with us.